Yes.
So read second Esdras. Yeah, we're back. We just have to keep moving around because Esau's kingdom, you know, Esau's kingdom, and we're like pilgrims at the moment, man. Someone keep on having to move around. Second Esdras. Yeah, start from 1, Baba Kusha.
It's the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16, verse 1. So it says, "Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia! Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria! Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back?"
All right. Yeah. So he's going to break some questions, really. Some questions. A sword is sent among you. Who can turn it back? What are they doing now? They're trying with this coronavirus. They're trying all kinds of things. They're saying this thing is like it's got a life of its own, man. Some of the whistleblower doctors, because they're going under the radar. Some of them have got methods in which they don't want to be called out. Some of them go missing when they speak out. Some of them go have to go undercover. And they're saying when someone was tested of this coronavirus, it said that it showed up that it was cleared of the coronavirus, and then it's like it came back. They gave it some kind of medicine or some kind of treatment, and it's like it came back with a heavier, it came back even stronger. And they're saying it could be the medications, or the virus has a life of its own. It's like a living organism.
That's what Esau does anyway. They done that with the Ebola. They take it in the labs, and then they mess around with it anyway, man. They make it like they take one bacteria and they make it into a super bacteria, make it like a resistance to all these medicines or whatever. You know, take one type of deadly virus, take another type of deadly virus, and they mix it together, and Esau does that all the time anyway, man.
So you think that you think that you've got your immune system stood up to it, and it comes back even more heavier. You've been cleared, and you get it again. You come into contact with it again, but this time it comes back heavier and it takes you out. And I was thinking of Spider-Man, man. You know, Spider-Man 3 with Venom. That black soot thing, which I think that they're trying to say that is black matter, space matter. I think that's what the message that they're trying to give out. But that thing was a living organism, man. And once it consumes you, that's it. There's no escape. You try and move, run away, it will find you and come after you. You try and get away, then it's only Spider-Man, the mad scientist Spider-Man, because he's a scientist. He found a way which overpower that venom, that live organism. So this virus, read it again. Free.
So Second Ezra 16 and 3. So it said, "A sword is sent upon you,
And then carry on.
and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away an hungry lion in the wood?"
Yeah, stop there, because that's a good question, man. You know, when you face a lion, which I don't know if I think you've seen a lion before, haven't you?
In person, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I've seen hyenas and all that stuff.
Yeah, I have.
Have you seen a lion?
Yeah, at a zoo, when I went to Chisholm Zoo.
Boy, and are there anything like when you see them on TV?
I went on a safari once here, but we didn't come across lions. We came across everything else, but except what we're looking for.
Someone sent a message on which I thought, yeah, that was very good. You know, someone said they posted that thing with the lion.
Oh yeah, the female lion of that, yeah.
Yeah, a lioness.
The tug of war.
Yeah,
They took like 3 strong men, and just one lion just biting, and they couldn't pull it.
Yeah.
That's 3 strong men. They could not pull the rope of a lion, man, of one female lion.
And that's not even the muscle. That's the jaws.
Yeah.
That's not including the bulk and the muscle, the whole strength. That's just the lion with his claws in the ground. Really, it's his jaws, and the strength is in the jaws. So you don't want to be bitten by no lion, man. Just read that again, man.
Second Ezra 16 and 6. May any man drive away an hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it have begun to burn? That
lion was in the zoo, so he wasn't hungry. You know, if you meet a they want to meet a hungry lion.
The wild one,
A wild, hungry lion, man. Three muscle men couldn't even hold its own against that lioness.
And there's another video of a lion hunting, a female lion hunting, and all these wildebeest keep running by, and they're just standing still, like he's hesitating to jump on any of them, and then the male one just appears from nowhere, straight into the wildebeest and just grabs one and pins it down. And the wildebeest is strong, man. The wildebeest will flip the car over, and that lion just it grabs the wildebeest and flips it over like it was nothing, man. So you know that's how a lion is a powerful animal. Man. A lion is a very, very powerful animal.
Yeah,
nothing to be messed with.
And that's what, and most are using that to illustrate his point. You know, 7.
Verse 7. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. The mighty Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away?
Yeah, these plagues that we've mentioned about the coronavirus, it's got a life of its own, man. It's got, you know. So they think that they've come up with an antibody, and it can mutate and come back again and take that person out. If the Most High's will, because the Most High's got left-hand side angels, which you can describe it as a left-hand side angel, the spirit that is created for vengeance. Yeah. So if the Most High says, right, I'm going to set that out for you, man, he breaks it down. Carry on reading, carry on reading.
Verse 10. It's like your verse 9. A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it?
Yeah. Most High wrath is described as consuming fire. If the Most High is after you with fire, you can't quench it no matter how much fireman you send after it, man. Carry on, bro.
It's verse 10. He shall cause lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence?
Yeah, when he threatens, you don't really need to raise his you don't need to raise his power. You could just blow with his nostrils or a threat. They see the chariots, man. The Edomites, they see a chariot, because I'm always watching chariot programs. You know, it's one of my things. And the Indians, they were saying, and which indirectly, the Gadites, they're saying that they call them on this documentary, they call them star children, and they have a relationship with the chariots, the so-called UFOs. And she had one of her, I think she was married to an Edomite, but he came over the house, and when he saw it, he took out his gun and started firing, licking shot after it.
What, a chariot?
Yeah, and the Edomite man, you know, because he was frightened, innit?
That's Esau's first response, man. Fight it. Yeah. Kill and destroy, then find out what he's after.
So they get frightened. They get frightened when they see these. But the children of Israel, those are in the know, and even if they're not in the know and you see them, usually you just think, oh, I wonder what that is, you know, and they get fascinated. But Esau's first reaction is to be frightened. And a lot of them break down their stories and they say, I just felt full of fear.
That's why the scripture says, be not dismayed at the signs of God.
That's lucky one.
Read it.
It's Jeremiah 10:2. So it says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Yeah. And the Gadites, them, you know, they communicate with them. They say that even up to this very day, they say that they have their chief Gadite. He says that they break down what they call these old stories that they pass down through their generations. That we have a relationship.
Folk tales or something.
Yeah, so-called folk tales. He said that they break it down to their offspring. Don't, you know, when you see these, just say what you got to say. You know, even though they're a little bit off, because they don't know that they're Israelites, but they know that those strange things that you see in the sky, they're not your enemies, they're your friends. But Esau, he wants to get up his sword, he wants to take up his gift and try and fight against him, because he's a very paranoid person.
And even so lucky, even the Aztecs, which they're the Issacharites, they used to refer to them as the Space Brothers. And I believe the Mayans used to refer to them as the Space Brothers as well. You know, and there's many accounts of the Mayans and the so-called Mayans and the Aztecs where they came into contact with chariots.
Yeah, that's why when they do the documentaries on them History channels, they always focus on the South American tribes a lot. Yeah. They always focus on the paintings and that history, you know. I've got precept. This is Luke 21:27, and it says, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and growing. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Yeah. So when we see these things happening now, the chariots visiting, all the things that are described in Matthew 24, pestilence, uprising, says, the Most High says, lift up our heads erect, man. He knows our deliverance is getting near. So let them get fearful. Let them, it says that precept in, yeah, you read that precept. Read that precept.
This is what? The second one.
Jeremiah.
Oh yeah, Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah 10 verse 2. So it says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Yeah, that's the chariots, that's all there's multiple signs that we see. You know, when we relate to that precept, lift up your heads erect, because you know that your deliverance is getting near. So we don't become dismayed like the heathens do. They know their kingdom is falling, you know, because I remember that dream when I was, it's almost like I was taken up. I looked like I was in a position, it was an alleyway, a literal alleyway, and I was facing that agent, which I knew that something was very, very demonic about the agent, and I felt it from my spirit. And as I thought he's getting a bit closer, the Most High just lifted me up, and I just went over him, and the Most High just carried me, and my back was towards, my belly was towards him, and my back was in the air, and I was just getting carried away, and I was just looking at him, and in my mind I was like, I was kind of laughing in a way, like to say, you had me, didn't you? You know, I was kind of feeling good about it, you know. And I remember even that dream, and I remember meeting up with brothers, which was another dream, and I said, you know what, to the Akim, I had a dream, you know, and I was relating it to the brothers about it. But it was a dream, and I said, this time it's not a dream, and I related it to the brothers. And we was at camp, and we was looking up, and I particularly remember the Wada. Not Riyami, I'm a one. And I related that what I just related to you, and we was looking at what we were saying, and we were seeing chariots again. And I thought it wasn't a dream again, but I was dreaming that I was telling the brothers that I had a dream. So, dreaming about flying, but I'm just going to say this. If we get spiritual power, Lord willing, we get spiritual power. And yes, brother might ask, do you want spiritual power? Yeah, I do want spiritual power. Why do you want spiritual power? Because I want to do some things in the earth, man. I want to bring justice on the earth through the power and spirit of the Most High. If that's my lot, you understand what I'm saying? If that's my lot. And it was like night time. It was like night time, and the spirit came on me, and I was moving around in the night. And next thing I know, I was saying, I'm moving around like I've got some kind of power in the night. And I was moving around in the house, and I said, I wonder if it would work if I go outside the house. And I just leaped out the window, and and this was like late at night. And the first thing that comes to me was one of those, when I woke up, was one of those vampire movies. I think there was a vampire movie in 2016, where he was moving. In the daytime, he was moving he was mingling in with the people, like Clark Kent, and in the nighttime, he becomes a vampire, and he was moving around and he was doing some mystical thing. That is what it was like, and I remember actually in the daytime, mingling with the people, feeling like, and I was thinking, I was looking at some people and I was saying, should I tell him I've got spiritual power? And the spirit said, no, don't tell him. Just mingle in, do Clark Kent. That is what the dream was telling me, like to say, so potentially, the brothers who's going to get spiritual power, for a time we may be just mingling in and doing things normal in the daytime, according to the vampire movies, and in the night time you're in another. It's like Jekyll and Hyde thing. But for those that like horror movies, I never used to like horror movies when I was younger. But this kind of horror movie was like, I liked it. You understand what I'm saying? There was some power in it. Got a precept?
So just to get that word dismayed in Jeremiah 10 and 2, so just for edification, so Strong's H2865, and the word is hathath, And the word, basically the word means to be afraid, or to be broken, to be scared, to be terrified.
Yeah. So we're not to feel terrified. You know? I relate back to that dream again. When I saw that, what looked like it looked like an Amalekite, but it looked like one of the men in black. And I looked at his eyes, piercing eyes. So I knew it was something supernatural, you know, like a demon. Because, you know, demons could come in, they're shapeshifters. And the Most High said, no, don't worry, and he just lifted me up out of it, you know. Bring out the priest.
So Luke 21 and 25, and it says, and there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the power of heaven shall be shaken.
Yeah. Some Edomites come up to camp. I've been watching some of the camps, the videos, they're coming up to camp and saying, so when are these things going to start to happen? That's the main thing that they really, because they now know, they're convinced that, for those that know, it's going to happen, but maybe how much time have we got left? You know, there's the scripture we brought out last week, Lamentations 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you get that.
Another place to back that up. It's Isaiah 2 and 10 and 11, and it says, so like I start from 10. Okay, Isaiah 2 and 9, and it says, and the mean man boweth down, and the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not. Enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust, for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon every one that is proud and lofty, and upon every one that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low, and upon the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, and upon all the oaks of Bashan, and upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up, and upon every high tower, and upon every fenced wall, and upon all the ships, and upon all the ships of Tarshish, and upon the pleasant pictures, and the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. Okay.
Yeah. So the lofty looks of man shall be bowed down. You've got these tough guys, innit? Now, no matter if you've been an MMA star, super athlete, you know, that could just, you know, those Russian army soldiers, tough as nails, you know. Most I say, the lofty looks of man is going to be bowed down, man. At the mere sight of what we're seeing already, the Most High ain't even, the Yahushua ain't come back, which the one that he always talks about, man gonna, when we actually get to see Yahushua, which is interesting, because you've got some fearful looking people. You look at them, they look fierce, like some of the Russian men, and some of the John Jones, you know, he's the MMA fighter, you know, Tyson Fury, and then fierce looking guys like warriors, you know, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, you know. But if you ain't got the blessing of the Most High when Yahushua comes back, the real lion of Judah, conquering lion, even some of them Benjamites were alright when they say that. Some of them Rusties, Lion of Judah, conquering lion. You know, you got to appreciate that.
Yeah, this is and that wasn't Haile Selassie, by the way. This is Luke 21:25, and it says, and there shall be signs.
That's what I just read.
Oh, Selassie, sorry. Might as well. It's Luke 21 and 25. So it says, and there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
Yeah. The scripture says, Haggai, the Most High will visit the earth which he made, You know, the Lord is gonna. The scriptures also speak about the Lord visiting through the tempest and the storm and the whirlwind. You know, because as the brother was saying, man, people they have a little confrontation, a little boxing match. I'm gonna do this to you, I'm gonna do that to you, or a little fight here and there, and they think that that's some level of fear or like some level of real combat, man. But we're talking about, you know, Yahweh Shai, man, and the angels, man. That's why the scripture says, I will not meet thee as a man, because all we know is man-to-man conflict, you know, or what we can face, you know, against a flood, like Cumbria, your house will get flooded. Oh, that's devastating, man. Or, you know, a fire breaks out in Australia. Oh, that's devastating. But when Yahweh Shai comes back, that's an extraterrestrial power, man. Something that man can't fight against, man. That's why all the tough guys are gonna be. That's what the scripture says. A man travaileth like a woman in her labours, man. Okay, because all the tough guys, they're gonna really be humbled by the Lord, man. Everybody's gonna be humbled. That's why the scripture says, "Shall the Lord thunder, and everyone not be utterly beaten to powder," man. Meaning that, listen, man, everybody's gonna have to accept that, yo, there's nothing I can do, you know. That's why it's either you're on the Revelation says, he who is righteous, let him be righteous still. He who is filthy, let him be filthy still. Because when that time comes, there's no more deciding. You know, oh, now I want to serve the Lord, or now I want. Listen, man, whatever side you're on, that's it. Deal with it, man. But at the end of the day, nobody can change the fact that Yahweh Shai is coming back as an extraterrestrial power, man.
That's right.
In its full glory.
What's that precept?
It's 2nd Ezra 13 and 5, and it says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet does fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he never lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid."
Yeah, that was Ezra, yeah? He saw that, he was afraid, man. And I believe he was a man, you know, he was a man of the Lord for sure, but them man, they were stronger them days, didn't it? They was built stronger. He was taller, he was bigger. So he was a man of, probably a man of valor, but he said when he saw that, he was afraid. So the mighty men today, you know, in their time, they're man of valor, but when Yehoshua come back, in Isaiah 47 and 3, he's not gonna Yehoshua, when he comes back, he will not meet us as a man.
And also the scripture says that the Lord in Revelation, to back this up, that the Lord is actually going to put the spirit on these armies to try and come together and fight against him, man. You know. And it says when he saw this, he was afraid, because when the prophets got the visions, man, they got sick, man, because they actually saw the destruction.
Yeah.
That's why they had to use terminology and things that existed back then in the ancient world, like mushroom clouds and stuff, to describe what they were seeing, man, because they actually saw, like in a hologram vision, America being destroyed, man. Yeah. You know.
The Most High made it real, that real to them, so that they believed it was real and it affected them. Their countenance.
5 minutes.
But they saw themselves in that, man. Yeah. Because Ezra said, "Woe is me, woe is me."
I'm just getting that.
Oh,
yeah. It's 2nd Ezra 16, and I'll start from 2nd Ezra 16 and 14. It says, "Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. the fire is kindled, and shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent up upon the earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent out as a scourge for amendments.
Yeah, woe is me, man. You know, and that's, you know, to be in that spirit means, you know, it's showing a reasonable amount of fear. A reasonable amount of fear. You know, we want to be in that kind of, we want to be balanced with it, you know?
And also, when you, this is woe is me, means destruction to me, man. Because oftentimes, sometimes at the start of a prophetic chapter, it will say, and the Spirit took me up, man. Because they actually got translated into that like 3D living world of actually being there, man. So Ezra's actually in America looking at the missiles coming, man. Saying like, oh, and that's gonna instill fear in you, man. That is gonna make you sick, man. You know, because you want to be delivered out of that, man. You know.
But it's like, and also when you say, when prophets were saying woe is me, like Ezra's, that's like if something bad happens to you now, you say, oh fuck me, man. That's essentially the same thing. I'm fucked, basically. That's what he was saying, essentially.
And who shall deliver me in those days, man? Meaning that, and that proves reincarnation, man. Because Ezra knew that this was for a time to come. He was getting a little preview of what's actually to come, but he knew that when it comes, he'll be there, man. All right. So that proves that we, you know, we knew about reincarnation in the past, man. You know.
Sometimes
this is why Salaki. This is why the prophets back then, they got the visions and wrote it down, and now they're here to do what? To break it down, man. You know. Go on.
Yeah. Sometimes brothers have visions that seem so very real. That you think that you've actually woken up, and you haven't woken up, you're sitting in a dream. That's a vision. Like what Daniel had, what John had. Today, some of these virtual reality games, you know, they're actually in the game. Virtual reality, you know, it's very convincing, you know.
It's a Hosea 12:10, and it says, I have spoken by the prophets, and I have used, so like I say, I have spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
Multiplied visions.
So the prophets would visualize. So the prophets, they'll go in a trance. It's like you're there, but you're not really there, man. You're somewhere else. Your eyes are either closed or wide open. Like example in the book of Acts, the Apostle Peter, when he went up on the roof to pray, he went in a trance, man. You know, we could have seen he was there, but he was in a trance, man. His mind and spirit was somewhere else, because the Lord was showing him something, man. That's why now the Lord was showing him the vision of the big shit made from four corners, you know. So they literally went in a trance. Their body will be there, but their spirit won't really be there, man.
The only prophet that never got visions and stuff was Moses, man. Because the Lord said, him I'm going to speak to face. That's why the chariot came down and the Lord would actually speak to Moses like man to man. But all the other prophets, the Lord communicated with them through how? Dreams and visions, man.
End off, we're going to break down a little bit in Amos, and then we're going to let the next one come in, yeah?
So, Amos 5:8. Seek him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion, and turneth the turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night, that cooleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is his name. That strengthen he spoiled against the strong, so that the spoiled shall come against the fortress. They hate him that rebuketh thee in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly.
Jump down to 15. Just finish off now.
Verse 15. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that the Lord thy power of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph.
Yeah, hate the evil, love the good, man. We may willing, we get most shall show us mercy. Carry on.
Lose your license. Yeah.
Carry on down to 20.
Okay, come. Verse 16. Therefore the Lord, the power of hosts, the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, saith thus, wailing shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas, and they shall call him, and they shall call the husbandman to mourning, and such are skillful of lamentation to wailing. And in all vineyards shall be wailing, for I will pass through thee, saith the Lord. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him.
Stop there, man. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, man. You know? Make sure that we're doing everything that is pleasing to the Most High, because when he comes back, he shall not meet us as a man, man. You know, carry on.
As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him.
Yes, and that's what you relate that to the plagues again, because they thought that they had it. They thought that they had a antibody to this coronavirus. Yeah, they was cleared. These undercover doctors that don't want to be they don't want to be come out, you know, but they're giving the information via these social media.
It's about to shut off. 1 more minute. It's about to shut off.
Two speakers, and they're saying that people are cleared, and then it comes back again, even stronger. So they're able to mutate and come back stronger, regardless of what happens. So read what that part again, which says, "Woe unto the no. Flee from a lion."
It's Amos 5:19. As if a man did